We are speed and professionals in aeromatic. Welcome back to the IED Racing channel. Really appreciate you guys for tuning in. I know it's been a long time since I posted last. I'd probably say close to almost 3 months, 4 months since the last update. You know, and there's been a lot of things on my plate personally. So with that, I've made the decision to retire the convertible. I know the title says a lot as to what you guys can expect. I do say this with a heavy heart that the Vert is now retired officially. It's not the fact that the car didn't perform well. I know the car has great potential, probably more potential than what it's at right now. With some tweaks, things of that nature, would be able to make the car go faster. But it's really hard for me because it's basically the first build that I've ever done, my own personal build that is my car. And the car that I was able to go, 12s, 11s, 10s, now 9s, and trying to get 8s. Yes, the car probably could do it with some adjustments, but for the fact that it is convertible, super dangerous, the cage needs to be updated. Now really getting the bug for drag and drive events, and the last event that we did was like a drive event, going and being caught in the rain and inclement weather and not having a top. Granted, we could probably put a top on it, but it really takes away from the look of the car. I feel like if I really want to go fast, this isn't the car to do it with. I know that it's fast enough, but to go faster, it just really wouldn't be that safe. Having to change out the rear end to a solid axle, going and switching to like methanol, things of that nature. Like, I don't want to cut the car up. I'd rather not cut up, I guess, any more than it already is. It still could be, with factory OEM top put back on it. I mean, there's still all the mount points and things like that to be able to put it back to not 100% factory, but close to, and make it more of a street car. But I'm probably not going to change anything on it at all. I'll probably just end up leaving the car as is and just retire it from drag racing for the time being. Maybe make special appearance with it, that type of thing. But without further ado, the other news is we did get a different one. So with that, yes, we are still going to be doing a lot of drag racing. But this time around, we're going to be doing it purpose-built with this 1988 Mazda RX-7 Turbo 2. Let's check this out. So this car, it came basically completely disassembled in pieces. We're going to be doing a lot to this car in this video. We're going to just briefly kind of go over some of the changes. But we're going to keep full interior as much as possible. Carpet, dash, headliner, things of that nature. We'll get a cage put in. We're going to go chromoly with this one. We're going to try to make it as light as possible with the OEM components that we have, and still keep, power windows, have locks, doors, everything like that. It is a pretty decent shell. I will say the undercarriage of the car, everything seemed very good from being able to kind of go through it. But we'll take the hood off, the fenders off here, and really just kind of strip this thing down so you guys can see what we're working with, and then kind of the game plan. So first things first, let's address the elephant in the room. Yes, underneath the engine compartment is completely gold, which it is what it is. We're going to live with it. Other thing, yes, all the electrical is electrical taped in red, which I don't know what in Sam, hell, Christ, Jesus, this guy was thinking of doing this with red and gold, but I don't know. I don't even know a team somebody think of an NFL team or hockey team or something like the Trojans or Spartans. Like, who is red and gold? I have no idea where this is coming from for the color combo. But all that's going to get stripped out. Most of the harness stuff we don't even need. We aren't even going to use like the engine harness stuff. All that'll come out. We are going to keep the main harness, which basically only from about here in for like the headlights and stuff is this red. So I can fix that, just unlimit, and then we'll just keep it black because we still want to have the pop-up headlights working, turn signals, all that, horn. We're going to keep all that stuff because this is going to still be a stick shift drag car. So this car, we're going for lightweight, we're going for extreme power, and we're going for stick shift. And I mean, we got big goals here. Not gonna throw out any numbers or anything like that, but we're gonna be faster than the convertible, put it that way, and safer too, because it's gonna be a coupe. It's got a top. Lot more, I guess, reasons to go with a coupe for drag racing than convertible. But with that, we're gonna take the transmission out. Already inspected transmission, drivetrain, everything. Selling all that stuff. All of the panels, doors, everything looks good there. First step though, just to get this into somewhat of a state where we're gonna be able to start mocking things up, is we got to cut the front end off. So the front end we're going to cut right about here, right in front of the strut towers, and we're going to cut that guy off. So that's the step for today, and that's what we're going to get to it. So let's do this. All right, so now that we have everything taken off the front that can come off, so everything's good there. And then, oh, Kate, are you going to come in the picture? What are you sniffing? Did you smell mice in that pile of shit that was in here? No? Okay. So we're going to do some measurements basically to make sure that when we cut this front end off, when we use a tube front end, we're going to put the headlights and everything back in the same position. And how we're going to do that is basically I'm just going to measure off the strut tower bolt for the strut and then measure to where a headlight is. So on that, straight down, and we're going to go right to the back of the bolt. We have about 19 and a half. So on this one, I'm going to just write down 19 and a half and then put a straight arrow to this bolt here. And then we're going to go crosswise from here to this one here, and then make sure that we go to the back side of the bolt head, which is going to be on that one right about 42 and a quarter. And then we're going to do the exact same thing from this one, which is about, look at that, 19 and a half. And then from this one, we got about, 42, and I would say that's about 42 and an eighth. So it's about an 1/8 inch off corner to corner, which isn't bad. I mean, if you think about it, this car is 1987 RX7 Turbo 2. So for it to be only off an 1/8 of an inch corner to corner, and it's the exact same distance front to front, the front end, tube front end that's going to go on this car does have some adjustments, so that should be fine. Oh yeah, and then we're going to take the measurement from here to here to make sure that we don't lose any distance there. And there we're right at about 35 and a quarter across. So we're going to keep all these measurements the same. We'll write those down. All right, before I start, I actually just wanted to kind of go through, I marked these all off. I actually wrote the numbers right up on the strut tower just because then I don't have to lose the piece of paper or whatever it's written on. So I got both those marked off to what they are. But I just put a line here as to where I'm going to start, and I kind of cut heavy. It's probably going to end up being flush with this as it comes straight across for where the plate's going to mount right here to mount the actual tube front end on. So I just made a couple lines that go down and then just kind of follow the frame rail. You can kind of see on that side, you know, where it's going to come down. I'm going to cut right along that frame rail. As you can kind of just see, just right down through here is where it's going to get cut. And then this whole front end section through here, all drops off. So I don't know if it's going to come off in one solid piece. It might not, but it should basically just only have the frame rails left when I'm done, just poking out. And then we'll measure it again after. If I have to, I might have to do a bar across the front just to keep those solid. But for right now, just because I don't want it in my way, I'm going to just cut these off and leave it hang for right now. But nothing in the front should twist or tweak. There's no weight on the front. All the actual jack mounts for where the jack stands are behind the firewall here in the back corner. So there shouldn't be any actual heavy weight hanging on here. The only heavy weight is at the actual strut towers, where it just has just a brake caliper strut hanging there off the strut tower. So really nothing that should flex this front end at all as I cut this off. And yeah, we'll see what it looks like when we're done. We'll throw this on a time lapse just to make it a little bit faster for you guys to be able to see. Also, brand new Torch Milwaukee bit carbide, longest one I could find to be able to kind of get through these fatter sections here and not stub the bit. And I don't know, I feel like using a brand new bit probably the best way to go, just so that it doesn't have any curves to it or anything when we make the cuts, making them as straight as possible. So let's get after it. Whew, all right, so that is done. A little sweaty, but got the front end cut off. I did leave the front support bar. Basically, that's what mounts for the oil cooler originally and some relays. But it's a nice tube brace. Instead of getting rid of all the spot welds and everything right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a plate, that a roll bar tube, and I'm going to actually make a plate front end, and then just make that tube connect these two so that it doesn't move. So when I cut that tube out, the center one that's still existing, nothing should move side to side. And then height wise, we should be fine. Since there's no more weight on that section, we should be good. So as long as everything still lines up right, once we get our front tube kit for the front end. Also, I want to show you guys one more thing. But before I get to that, I'm going to clean up all this mess. Weight savings, I mean, there's not a ton of weight here. I would probably say that this whole piece, for what's going to go in on a tube front end, we're probably not going to be saving a whole lot of weight. The thing that we're going to be saving, though, is the amount of room that we have in the front now. And then going with the tube front end, we can pretty much do whatever we want. Nothing's going to be in the way. And it's going to make my life a whole lot easier in modifying this car. As you can see, this drastic of a change, doing this to the convertible, I just couldn't do it. So had to use this one. I have no sentimental value attachment to this car. So cutting it up, I actually kind of enjoyed it a little bit. So let's just go over kind of, our wish list, so to speak, our hopes and dreams as to what we're going to do to this car. So yes, I'm going to get a pre-made tube front end kit. So I've ordered that. It's about 4 to 6 weeks is what the turnaround time is. In between that, get the motor stuff somewhat ironed out. So the rotor is going to get sent off. We're going to be using 87 turbo rotors, so a little bit thicker from what I understand, as well as being able to get some machine work done on those. I have a spare clutch and flywheel that was for the convertible. That will be for this car. So everything cross-platform there for a twin disc. And then the motor itself is going to be a semi-peripheral port, as well as it's going to be a bridge. We're going to do billet for front and rear on the irons. So the front and rear plate now is going to be a billet. Looking at whether to go for billet Boss or billet Inc. If you guys in the comments say, this is better and this is why, please let me know. I've reached out to both manufacturers just to try to get some insight. Sounds like, from what I've seen, everybody's making, strides with the Billet Inc. and the Billet Boss. They seem pretty comparable, even price-wise, about the same. And with that, we're going to just use REW center. And obviously, you got to support my guys at E&J. So E&J Apex Seals, 3-piece, Mazda OEM seal kit for the side seals, corner seals, all the springs, all that jazz, all the seal gaskets. Everything will be OEM there. And then E&J got the Bully Killer intake manifold and throttle body. So that's already here. We got that. We'll hopefully be able to kind of mock up kind of just a engine in the car as to what it would look like. Probably going to do some type of a 12A front cover for being able to do like a motor plate, and then make some mounts off the oil pan. So I'll do somewhat of a billet pan and make mounts off that as well. Yeah, transmission, I really like the TKX. I'm still kind of waiting to get word that my TKX is ready and done from Liberty. I feel like it's been like 6 months. I don't know. Called a couple times, but they're just dealing with shortages, employee stuff. It is what it is. I don't need it right now anyways. It was going to go in the Vert. It's going to go in this now. The Vert's going to stick with the same TKOs it had before. Interior, we're going to keep as much of the interior as we possibly can. I'd love to be able to have still heater controls, fan, blower, all the amenities inside the cab for, power windows, power locks, and then even be able to hopefully integrate some type of like a Heltec dash. This will be running off a Heltec Elite 2500 ECU, all the bells and whistles, same stuff that the convertible had. And then we are going to be running on methanol. So that's going to be another big thing, big change for the drag racing portion. Methanol on the street portion, it's going to be on E85 strictly, as much as possible, I should say. It's still going to have flex fuel, so you can put pump gas in it, but mainly the car is going to be run on E85 and on one fuel system, and then the methanol is going to have its own separate fuel cell in the front, and then it's going to have the mechanical pump for that. But yeah, so the rear of the car, I got to cut it up a little bit, so we're going to be taking out the Turbo 2 diff out of the car, and then we're going to be switching to that guy right there. I did reach out to a gentleman that is a huge Mustang 8.8 builder. So this rear end came out of a Mustang, a 2002 Mustang. Basically, all of the mount tabs have been shaved off, and then it's got 9-inch end caps welded on. And then I'm going to be fabricating this in, making my own subframe, and basically kind of like a 4-link, mini 4-link, like what you'd see in a lot of the Mustang combinations that are out there, and just try to keep it as simple as possible. But I got to cut up the back of the car in certain places to be able to do that. So to make that work, we're going to be doing some fab work and rear end stuff. But for the width of this rear end, it should be almost identical hub to hub spacing for what the factory OEM Turbo 2 rear end is. So hopefully I can use my same drag slick rims. And then I will be switching the car to a bias ply tire versus a ET slick. So that kind of sums up where we're at on kind of a rundown, high-level overview of what we're doing with this new build. It's going to take some time. I don't know if it's going to be done for any certain event. I don't have a timeline. Basically, parts, shipping, things of that nature. I mean, it all takes time. I don't have everything ready to build this car. It kind of fell in my lap, came in as a good deal that when I saw it, I was like, this is exactly what I'm going to end up doing with it anyways. So, yeah, super stoked. Glad you guys could tune in. Stick around for the updates. Obviously, we're back to the builds for IED Racing, and really appreciate you guys tuning in. it's a sad but still exciting time for IED Race Channel. We're going to have something new for you guys to check out. And obviously, we're going to be going for those records. We're going to make it happen. Yeah, see you guys next time. Like, subscribe. Check you later.